to another week, another show of Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. Pleased to be joining you. Got another great show lined up for you this week. I know you'll think so after viewing it. And the people behind that made it all possible, our friends Craig and Stacy Schrader from Fight with Flash Foundation via Facebook or fightwithflash.org. Thanks again, Craig and Stacy. And here we go with the McCaffreys on Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. Welcome back to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. As you can see on the screen, my buddy Connor McCaffery. Yeah, that Connor McCaffery, Iowa Hawkeye basketball player, baseball player. We'll get to that in a little bit. But that being said, Connor's kind enough to join us. We record this on Wednesday afternoon, November 10th, after the Longwood victory from Tuesday night, where, as we all saw, Connor kind of nicked his knee up or his ankle up a little bit, but he's still the trooper here and decided to show up. And we're going to do this interview before treatment today. So I got to ask, well, first of all, thanks for joining us after all you got going on in your life. But secondly, how you feeling? How's it going?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling good. Definitely took a little bit of a beating last night. A couple of bad falls.
It's not even a Big Ten season
yet.
No,
I know. Just unlucky.
Yeah.
Could have been anyone, but it's a couple of bad falls, and I'm fine. I won't miss any. Don't plan on missing any game time, and I'll just live in the training room with Brad. We got great trainers. So
the UMKC game, again, when you folks see this, that game will have already been played. But wanted to let you know also we've interviewed Fran and Margaret, his parents, yesterday, and we're going to put that out various times throughout the year. And also Connor's younger brother, Patrick McCaffery, Iowa Hawkeye as well, dealing with his own ankles and issues and playing. And we're going to have Patrick on in a little bit and keep airing these throughout the year. But let's go right to it, Connor. I mean, this season, like no other, man, last year, no fans, and I heard your brother Patrick say too, we can't wait for you guys have all said this, can't wait for the fans to be back. Take us through last year. You had a great season with Luka Garza, now in the NBA, Joe Wieskamp in the NBA. No fans to see any of this except on TV. And now you've played a scrimmage against Slippery Rock, an exhibition, I guess, so to speek, and then a game last night against Longwood. Sure was nice to see some fans in Carver for a change, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's been amazing. It's just been last year. It was great, and we were so fortunate to play, but we just missed that fan aspect so much. They bring so much energy and bring such an atmosphere to the game. And so now this year, even playing 2 early games, I thought the crowd against for an exhibition against Slippery Rock was great. Something you might not necessarily expect for an exhibition, but it was great. And then last night, even a 9 p.m. start, not exactly ideal for most fans, but still great. And I think the Friday UMKC game is going to be really fun.
I agree with that. And folks, we're going to get more in with Connor about his plans in the future, baseball, everything else along with basketball. But I want to get more into the last couple of years with you. And I talked to your mom yesterday, and she said you and your dad are both very similar personalities. You're the floor leader. Hey, again, last couple of years, congratulations. Been great for you at or near the top of the college basketball world of assist to turnover ratio, which if you're a guard, scoring points is great, rebounds, assists, but that ratio is what you're graded on primarily. Right. And congratulations on the last couple of years of huge success on that. But you're very welcome and very well earned. But what was that? That has to help when you got guys like Wieskamp, Garza, J-Bo, as you're nodding. Yeah, you know. But it's great to see what they're doing in the NBA now. But talk about the impact now of leadership. So J-Bo's back with you, some upperclassmen leadership in Austin Ash. But you've got a new crew or guys that didn't get a lot of playing time are now getting integrated. Of course, Keegan Murray's back as well. His brother Chris is going to get more time. Your brother Patrick. We're going to start leaning on a lot of these guys. Philip Rabracha coming in, a little transfer. I'm excited to see, and talking with your dad yesterday, maybe the floor is a little more open with no slight to Luka or Joe at all, but Joe Toussaint, another Joe, by the way. Man, that floor is going to be open, and you guys are going to be pushing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Playing fast, playing, as you said, amazing playing with Luka and Weezy in every way. No takeaways. But that being said, that we relied on them for a lot of points. So now, somebody's got to score. So last night I think we scored like 103. So we're gonna have nights where now it's okay. Well, who's gonna score now? Where are these points coming from? And you're gonna see other people step up. It's not like the scoring opportunities just go away. Right. With them leaving. So obviously they were both amazing in everything they did. But now that you're gonna see guys step into roles that they're capable of being an integral part of the team.
If you would, for us, take us through the maturation of Luka as a player, because obviously he and Joe came in at different levels. Luka was, not to mention he had a 10-pound, almost a 10-pound mass taken out of his body a couple of years ago. But Joe came in road ready. I mean, this guy was a star player of the year. Came in from Muscatine High School. Kind of saw his path. Luka, it was fascinating to watch every year, and then the pinnacle last year, player of the year, just worked his tail off. Let's just be blunt, right?
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Luka worked so hard. Just to go into both of them. Weezy, as you said, I saw him kind of early in high school, and it was, it seemed like, okay, he's ready. He's gonna be good. He had a body. He was long. He was athletic. And he was scoring. He had to do so much for his Muscatine high school teams that he was ready to step in and take a big role, because sometimes that's the hardest thing. And we were able to integrate him right into that starting position, and he played well in that. And Luka, Luka had freshman year, his body was like what changed the most. I feel like over the time. He came in, you see him now, he's skinnier, but by the time he was a senior, he was playing at like 260, 265, and just strong, really strong. And that's just him, the workouts he did, his dad obviously is been amazing with the workouts he's put him through. Coach Maxwell, he's got his time in the weight room, and he just put in so much time in the gym as well. And a lot of it's confidence. Some of it is, we ended up going to that 4-out 1-in system that we kind of played with the small ball 4 with me at the 4, and giving him that entire paint to work with and navigate through. So I think there's so many things that went into both of them being so great. But Luka, just the work that he put in, and the type of worker that he just is by nature, is just the thing that you have to note the most.
Now, if we go to your leadership role now as an upperclassman returning, and of course COVID threw everything back last year. So are you a 4th-year redshirt? Or since you can come back next year? Last year didn't count. It's just it's insane how that all worked out. You got guys transferring, the transfer portal, everything. It's what do they say? It's a brave new world in an open landscape. So you can go darn near anywhere you choose at any time. So for you, a kid like Peyton Sanford comes in now, and first couple of games, any indication what a shot this guy has, and as a guard, you're salivating, going, hey, I can get some assists here, because I mean, just catch and shoot. It appears to me, and I'm curious from your background in playing AAU your whole career, and then coming up now at a very high level of competition, you and Patrick and the whole Austin Ash, that whole group of you guys all played together. I always, we were talking about Kerry Ash, and I grew up with Kerry and Austin's dad, and he coached a 5th grade team that had AAU that won the fifth grade state championship in AAU. Tiger Campbell now at UCLA. Austin Ash, Austin Fife at UNI, AJ Green from UNI, Jack Nungy, who now, and I want to talk to you a little bit about Jack in a minute too, but all those guys. And so like what I said to Austin Ash when he was on this show, I said, well, it was all coaching then, right? No players, but look at that who's who of basketball, even at 5th grade. Yeah. So you've been at a high level for a long time, you and Patrick and the rest of your crew. But don't you, I would think that you would agree that players coming in now are ready, like a Peyton Sanford, a Joe Wieskamp, your brother Patrick. I mean, you redshirted because you were injured or sick, as was Patrick. But for the most part, when you guys are hitting that floor, you're ready to go nowadays.
Oh, absolutely. No, the game has evolved to something so great. And, players are just getting better and better. It's the way it's been. And, you see the freshmen coming in, they're ready to go. Peyton's ready to go. And he's been great. It's fun to play with him. He's got such a quick release. He can really shoot it. He's a good finisher with both hands. Pull-ups in the lane. He's just a good all-around player. And so I'm excited to play with him. Like you said, the game is just evolving. Players are just getting better and better. They're ready when they come in. A lot of it, I would say, the biggest thing is body type. How are you going to adjust physically with your strength, your athleticism, and that's the one thing that I think every freshman has to work on. But like you said, it's the skills are getting pretty interesting.
And now everybody's ratcheting it up, so it's not just you; it's everybody else. In the Big Ten, and gosh, the preseason started with 5 teams in the Big Ten ranked. Although we've had some upsets in this early season, or close games anyway. So when you take a look at that this year, you're adding 2 Big Ten conference games and taking away 2 non-cons. So now we're turning up that competition level even more. But let's talk about Jack Nungy. Since we talked about Luka and Joe Wieskamp from last year, I'd really like to touch on Jack for a moment. And I did talk to Austin Ash about this as well this last spring when Jack transferred, and how sad it was. And I think a lot of viewers don't know that Jack was an Iowa kid originally until 5th grade, and then moved with his dad. His dad, a doctor, went to Ohio. But what a sad, that was tragic last year. But from what Austin Ash told me, it brought you guys together closer as a team when Jack's dad passed away, and now he has since transferred back home. Very, very tough situation. But talk about Jack, if you would, just for a few minutes.
Yeah, no, very, very sad. I still remember, that morning when they came in and told us what had happened. Just absolutely terrible. And Jack, obviously good player, but I think as it would have been for me, very hard to go somewhere where you have those memories.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand Jack transferring and respect him for it. I'm still friends with him to this day.
And that's great to hear. And that's what Austin said too. You guys are all still very close. So very understandable, but so sad. But hey, let's take a quick pause, and we'll be back in later weeks with part 2 of the Connor McCaffery interview, because we're going to get into baseball. We've talked basketball. Going to get into the relationship with dad, son, coach, player, all that stuff. So come back for more of Hawkeyed with Dave O'Hara and Connor McCaffery, Iowa basketball player, Iowa baseball player. Back with more Hawkeyed in just a few moments.
In farming, everybody knows relationships drive the industry. And with Merschman Seeds, you've got a friend in the field. Hi, this is Joe Merschman. We're the friend that delivers with extraordinary speed. We're the friend that shares knowledge and innovation. We're the friend that cares about your yields and profits. And we just happen to have the most advanced seed technology in the industry. When you choose the best seed, you also get the best people. Merschman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Chevrolet. We've lived through some very interesting times the last few months. Ensuring everyone's safety is more important than ever. That is why we're participating in the Chevy Clean program. At your request, we will pick up your vehicle, service it, and return it after we've cleaned it using the current CDC guidelines. This is just another way to work towards exceeding your expectations. So give us a call and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
So let's get, as we close out here, again, you see Connor McCaffery with me, Iowa Hawkeye basketball player and baseball player. But Connor, you got a lot of future ahead of you, and I'm not asking you to play it out in front of us. Give us kind of an idea where you're headed with baseball. Great baseball player throughout your years in high school, and it's tough with college basketball, not being injured, but trying to play baseball, travel, practice. Take us through that, if you would, for us, and where baseball sits with you. And I'm a huge baseball guy. I love baseball. And you're from, your parents are from the Philly, or your dad's from Philly and East Coast, so I know you love baseball from that. And yeah. I do a lot of baseball shows and interview I have a lot of on-air partners that are former players. One and Bob Grenier, your dad knew in Philadelphia before he became a Cub, and I still do shows with Bobby D. And so it's always great talking baseball with basketball guys. Oh, yeah. But you're a basketball guy, so how's that future set for you?
No, yeah, I love baseball. One of my favorite sports. People always ask me, what's your favorite sport, and I don't really have an answer. But
is it a tie to those two, basketball and
I
baseball?
always say hard to say.
Okay.
So I stick with that. But I love baseball. I'm a big Phillies fan, but I love, people are always like, oh, how do you watch baseball? I'm like, baseball is fun to watch. It's great to watch. So I guess we're in the minority.
We are, yes.
But it's been great playing. Obviously, I feel like I've kind of had some tough luck with playing. Actually, I played my freshman year, and then next year was COVID, so I was planning on being a part of that team and being really involved. And then COVID hit, so okay, now I haven't played in a while. Haven't gotten any live at bats. Come back, have another good fall, and then I get hurt during the basketball season. And if I hadn't dealt with my hips after last year, like if I had played that baseball season out, then I would have missed the entire basketball season and baseball season the next year. So it just wouldn't have made sense to play that baseball season out. I only missed one season there rather than getting two back. So that's ended up what I, being what I decided to do, and so it's been fun.
The first concern when I talked to you today and getting treatment on your ankle, but I was going to ask you how your hips are doing now. The ankle's getting all the, but the hips are fine. You're not just one hip surgery too, so you're okay now.
No, yeah, I'm okay.
Perfect,
Okay.
perfect.
Yeah.
So let's close out with this. We're going to show a picture here. We showed it during your mom's segment as she was walking across the stage as Margaret McCaffery got her law degree from Notre Dame. There's a Connor McCaffery, about a year and a half old, and she's holding you. And she said that you were known as the law class kid because they all your dad was recruiting and traveling and coaching. And she said, like, whenever you got sick, and they would all kind of research and take you to, to the doctor, different appointments. And I'm like, gosh, she got her law degree and her MD at the same time, basically. But so for you, are you following in that path? You're on social media. You do a great job of communicating your thoughts and your feelings. Yeah. Is that something you want to get into, a political or a law thing or communications, or where? I know it's too early to tell, but just where are you headed in your future potentially?
Yeah, definitely still undecided at this point. I'm a finance and political science major, so I feel like I could either go on the business side of things or political side of things. Coaching is also obviously somewhat of an option, but to go to your question, definitely it's definitely a possibility. The thing that really got me into it was I had finished pretty much my finance degree in three and a half years. I finished early.
Congratulations, that's great.
Yeah, thank you. So then I needed another thing to do because I knew I was going to be here. So I was like, okay, well, what do I pick up? Well, over quarantine, got really big into West Wing show. Probably my favorite show of all time.
Yep.
And so then I was like, okay, well, I got to do political science. So I picked up political science major. I've been doing that. It's gone well, and so now I'm obviously I got some different things to think about, but those are all in the cards.
Hey, by the way, we have so many similarities. We talked about the common, the 6 degrees of separation with the Ashes and everybody else. Connor, what a pleasure, man. You and I have known each other throughout the years in passing, but great to actually get to sit down and talk with you and get your thoughts put out there. And gosh, thanks again for all your support with Fight with Flash Foundation and everything with cancer awareness and support and fighting that. So my pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. Absolutely. Truly my pleasure. And best of luck to you, man.
Thank you.
Got the world ahead of you.
Thank you. Yes,
You're welcome. Connor McCaffery, Iowa Hawkeye basketball player and baseball player and entrepreneur coming out in the future with that Iowa degree. That's right. So, hey, for Connor McCaffery, I'm Dave O'Hara here with Hawkeyed. Back with more Hawkeyed in just a few moments.
Hi, I'm Joel from Tice Automotive Family. We're living through some of the most interesting and challenging times many of us have ever seen. Knowing who you can rely on is more important than ever. Many of us turn to our families to get us through, and the same holds true here. From our fair upfront pricing to exceptional service after the sale, we truly want to exceed your expectations. So give us a call or stop by and let us show you what it means to be part of the Tice Automotive family.
Who do you trust to produce the best yield? A seed company that's chasing technology or a seed company that's writing the book on it? Hi, this is Joe Mershman. Mershman Seeds has been treating soybeans for decades, long before it was commonplace. We're the leader in technology, introducing Mershman Seeds' latest advancement in seed treatment with an added fungicide to help produce a faster, more even emergence every single time. Who can you trust with your yields? Mershman Seeds, your friend in the field.
Welcome to Hawkeyed with me, Dave O'Hara. And as you can see on the screen, I'm very pleased to have Margaret McCaffery joining us. Yes, that Margaret McCaffery, Fran McCaffery's wife. And I want to get into this. And I guess we could say Connor, Patrick, Marit, and Jonathan or Jack's mom as well. Sure. So I want to get in with Margaret, though, get into more detail about what it's like to be a former great player herself. Now watch her kids play, watch her husband coach, but also what it's like to be the woman behind the scenes, keeping all this together with her husband, with her sons. So first of all, Margaret, thank you so much for joining us. And secondly, how's everything going with you?
Thank you for having me. And they're going fine, I guess.
Very good. Well, busy, I'm sure.
Yes.
What an intro I gave you, because truly, I'm just sitting here thinking, wow, your days just have to be unreal. We're trying to keep a household together. You got kids in college. You got your daughter Marit at Villanova, across the country in Philadelphia, Fran's native area, but then 2 sons at Iowa, a son still at home in high school. I was going to ask you what you do with your free time, but you don't have any, do you?
I have a little bit.
Okay.
But yes.
So before we get to the woman behind the man or the man behind the woman and all the good stories, I want to talk a little bit about Margaret McCaffery as a basketball player. You heard Fran earlier say she was the true player. Fran was pretty good. And I hear your boys say that you were the talent in the family. Minnesota farm girl or Minnesota girl, went to Notre Dame, tore it up, played for a legendary coach in Muffet McGraw, coached with her. You meet Fran at Notre Dame when he's an assistant at Notre Dame. Talk about the courtship, how you and Fran got together, and then we'll get into the family dynamic, please.
Well, let's see. I had come back to Notre Dame to coach after playing overseas and working in Chicago, and Fran was there as an assistant coach with at that time John McLeod was the head coach. He'd been there before with Digger Phelps as well, but anyway, and so I knew who he was, but I had never dated him or anything like that, and so we. I don't know, he kind of followed me around the unknown.
Let's go with that.
He kind of did. No, he actually, it started with a 2-on-2 game.
Here we go.
We were going out, I think we were starting workouts with the players, and he brought Terry Tyler, who had played in the NBA, ironically for Dick Vitale, actually, and at the University of Detroit, and for the Pistons, and then had played for John McLeod, and he was on the staff. And then there was another assistant for Muffet. And so the four of us went out to the court, and we were going to play 2-on-2. And wisely, I chose Terry as my teammate. And Fran and I guarded each other. And then, I don't know, I guess the rest is history. We just started talking, and
I love it.
Obviously have a lot in common. So.
Sure. Well, let's talk about your career path then. When you went overseas to play, what was that like for you? Again, small town or Twin Cities area, but small state, small town girl in Minnesota going to Notre Dame. Then you go overseas and then work in Chicago. Culture shock. Did you love it? How long did you play over there?
I loved it, but I was terribly homesick in the beginning. I was in the south of France, as I said, and I learned French very quickly and got to be pretty fluent, which helped me a lot. So I ended up coaching actually a team of young girls and young boys, which was fun, and really immersed myself in the culture. So I ended up really loving that experience. I had a really, really severe case of patellar tendonitis that sort of hampered my playing, and then I went home at the end of the season and just opted not to go back and play again. There was a boyfriend involved.
Yes,
too,
of course.
Sure.
There always is, right? Yes.
But anyway, and so then I moved to Chicago, and I worked there at the Legal Assistance Foundation on a project for involving kids who were wards of the state.
Was that your background or your major, or what was your area of study in college?
I was a political science.
Okay, there you go.
Major government, they called it at Notre Dame. And then I ended up, Muffet called and said, "Would you like to come and coach?" And I said, well, I was actually going to go attend the law school at University of Minnesota, because that was where I was from. And I said, well, where are you playing? And they had a game in Hawaii that year, a tournament. And I'd never been to Hawaii.
Sure.
So I said, sure. So I deferred my admission at Minnesota, and I went off to South Bend, and I coached with her, and Fran and I started dating, and I guess the rest is history. I went to law school at Notre Dame instead.
Kudos to you for using that Notre Dame degree to say, hey, I need to go to Hawaii and coach. Nobody can say you're smart. That's for darn sure. So do you have your law degree? Did you finish it? Wow, congratulations. Yeah. That's no easy task.
Connor across the stage with me at graduation. He was sort of the class baby.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad I delved into that even more. So Margaret, more and more layers to the onion that is Margaret McCaffery. There you go. So let's get into that then with having Connor and then Patrick. And again, we mentioned Marit and then Jack or Jonathan. And I know Fran has a brother named Jack. So
he does,
obviously.
But we call him Jack, so you can.
Good. I can call him Jack. All right. So take us through that journey for you when Fran has to go recruit. Especially coming up at Notre Dame, he recruited all the time. Mm-hmm. That had to be interesting because you're single mothering it a lot, or a lot of things are on the phone with Fran. Talk about that if you would for us, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, Connor was kind of the class baby because it was my third year of law school, and Fran was the assistant, and he was gone all the time. And the first time Connor got sick, and was throwing up. It was my law school classmates we were all trying to figure out what to do.
Wow. So going to law school and med school all at the same
we were
time.
like,
There
what?
you go.
What do we do with this kid? And so it was, although I will say this, I think our lives would be a little bit different if he'd stayed I'm grateful that he got a head coaching job shortly after we got married and had a baby, because it definitely changes things a little bit.
Well, we're going to definitely do this again and check in with you in a counseling session, but also just to catch up with you, because I'm not surprised, but just our past conversations on the phone and setting this up. Thank you to you for setting this up with Fran and Connor and Patrick, but also the University of Iowa. We're in Fran McCaffery's office here at Carver Hawkeyes. So on game day. So Margaret, truly a pleasure. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. She is Margaret McCaffery. Head coach Fran McCaffery's wife, Patrick and Connor and Marit and Jack's mom, but also former great player and coach. So, gosh, so much, and the attorney. So if we need any legal help, are you still practicing or just dabble? Nope, just let it go. No. She is Margaret McCaffery. I'm Dave O'Hara for Hawkeye. That's all from us. Thanks to all of you. And as always, thanks for staying tuned at the end of the program for these rolling credits to give our advertisers and sponsors the attention and credit they so richly deserve. And as always, to our aforementioned guests and to you, the viewers. That's all from us at Hawkeye. Thanks to all of you.